Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome to Fresh Take Episode 18, Star Wars: The Force Awakens edition. We will be reviewing this movie. To let you know ahead of time, because I don't want y'all getting mad and getting in the comments trying to start something with folks. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review. If you have not seen the movie, that's your issue that you need to take up between you and the deity you serve. That has nothing to do with me. This cast is going to be full on spoilers because it's hard to review this movie without talking about stuff that happens in it. It's
basically impossible.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I'm going to give you the customary 10 seconds to get the hell out of my damn podcast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Okay, now you know. This is going to be, if you're still here, it's the full-on spoiler. Tonight, I got with me T. How you doing?
Hey, fools. How y'all doing? Should I be in here? Because I haven't seen the movie yet.
Shut your face. Get on out of here.
And you're ejected. So, and we also have a special guest with us tonight. Rule of Two Review. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Pretty stoked to be on here. This is the podcast I've been looking for.
Thank you for joining, good sir, good sir. Mm-hmm. So, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I'm not even going to start this one off. I'm going to let our guest start this one off tonight. What did you like about it? Rob, go.
Holy crap. That's such a big question. I mean, pretty much everything. I can't imagine that there are too many people who would feel opposite. Although, actually, I do know that there are some people who felt that way. But long story short, it was fantastic. You know, it was for the most part, everything that had been promised, everything that people had been waiting for. To get a sequel to the original classics and have it look and feel so similar and just be so exciting while still having some new tricks up its sleeve. I mean, how can it be better? And I say that as someone who was really nervous going into this without the series creator behind the helm for the first time. And with Disney being a weird factor for me because I love the company, but I haven't loved the idea of them with Lucasfilm and Star Wars. So there were some kind of weird things for me going into it, and I felt it would be great, but I had those kind of concerns, and luckily 99.99999% of them were absolutely assuaged within the first probably 10 minutes. So the quick version is I thought it was absolutely fantastic and wonderful, and it felt so good to see Star Wars on screen again. Holy cow.
I must concur. T.
Thank you. This movie was pretty freaking awesome. I really didn't go in with high expectations or low expectations. I kind of tempered myself because I knew how bad it could be, and obviously I felt how good it could be. And while it didn't reach the heights that I think it could have, I think it was the movie that we had to have. We'll get into gripes and stuff like that later, and we'll be probably nitpicking for a lot of those. But
sure,
to me, Star Wars has always been about the characters, and not so much the story. The story is pretty basic for the most part. Obviously, there's some intricacies with Darth Vader and all that stuff, and the Force and all that. But it's always been about the characters and me getting attached to them and following their story and watching their arcs. And the characters in this movie were so perfect. They were so well done. I'm in love with Daisy Ridley. She was awesome. I'm so bad with names. I remember hers because I talked to Turner Juice about her. What's the guy's name? John Boyega. Thank you, John Boyega, which I was a fan of before this. I loved him in Attack the Block. He carried that movie for me. It was a good movie, but he definitely carried it. And I knew he would be a great talent. So it was awesome to see him helm a Star Wars movie, which blows my mind. I'm sure it blew his as well when he got the part. And Poe Dameron. I mean, he was.
Yeah, people aren't talking about Poe enough.
I can kind of understand why, because he kind of shows up and then he goes away and then he comes back. But Oscar Isaac was awesome. He was a guy that I want to hang out with.
Yeah.
He just felt
he seemed like your bro.
He was definitely a bro, and the chemistry with him and John Boyega was just perfect. The torch has been passed in this movie, and we'll get into more of why it's been passed. But yeah, I mean, I loved it, man. I thought it was awesome.
Okay, me personally, I'm not gonna be like the both of you guys because you need to have a real, thought process on this. So my
Well, we
thought,
can get into details. I thought
Yeah,
we
we're
weren't
gonna get
making
into
this a
some
3-hour
gripes, like I
podcast.
said.
Well, I
Yeah.
can
yeah,
go.
but
I'll
see,
talk positives for 2 hours if you want.
you guys don't understand how this movie affected me personally. Okay, personally, I believe that this movie is actually awesome. So, yeah, dude, I have to say it's actually good to like see a movie, and I'm gonna say this because I just saw Creed last week too. It's good to see two movies
Mm.
that come back after years, after over 30 years apiece, and be done so well to actually bring in a new crowd and still respect everybody else.
Right.
I
Both
agree
of
with
those
that
movies did
100%. And on Creed too, because I will say Creed was amazing.
I was gonna say quickly on Creed is that we got Rocky Balboa in like '06, but you're right about because there wasn't really any new characters in Rocky Balboa outside of
Yeah.
his son being older. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you totally passing the torch basically to a newer group. This movie did it as well as Creed. Creed was awesome too.
Yeah. So that's what it did when I saw it, and I agree with you. T. Daisy Ridley, she is awesome. She is freaking
It's
awesome.
crazy how good she is. She really can be carrying the story going forward. Her and Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, like they're going to be the heart of the story going forward.
Oh, yeah,
those two
yeah.
characters.
And I think like her chemistry with John Boyega is actually, to me, was actually what actually had me enthralled a little bit because their chemistry is actually off the
great.
charts.
Yeah, they have great
Yeah.
chemistry.
Yeah, it was definitely very good. Yeah.
So their on-screen chemistry was just amazing, and like y'all said, I mean, dude, I actually like Adam Driver except for one thing. I'm gonna have to I gotta say it when we get into the negatives. But Adam Driver's Kylo Ren was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. I do disagree with a couple of people when they say certain things, but that's once again gotta get into that later. But on the whole, it was nice seeing Carrie Fisher. It was nice seeing Harrison Ford. It was nice seeing Chewie.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is definitely worth being talked about is how especially good Harrison Ford was.
Yes.
I mean, because
He was one of the big worries going into this movie.
it was like, how will it really feel? How will he really be? Like, will he feel like he's invested, or was this just a paycheck?
Is he going to phone it in? Because
yeah,
he can
Will
do
he
that.
be sober?
and now I have theories.
Will he be sober?
That is another good question. Yeah, it was Chewie who was drunk the whole time. We just couldn't tell. Yeah, it's interesting with Harrison Ford and with that whole thing because I think that when we get to some of the negative points, we can talk about exactly how or why he could have turned out great or terrible because there's a lot on that side I can talk about with Harrison Ford and his arc. But when you just straight up look at, seeing Han Solo on screen for one more film after his 30-year appearance, it just couldn't have been better. I mean, and he just seemed like he was really, really into it. And, however this whole magical thing came to be, which we actually do know, it was actually Lucas who got the original 3 actors back on board before retiring. But once they actually started devising the story and found out how they were going to utilize everybody, it's insane what they did with Harrison Ford, and it's insane how he performed. Like, I was so happy to see him. After 2 minutes on screen, I was like, oh my God, it's really Han Solo.
It's Han Solo.
It's not Harrison Ford in an old Han Solo suit. It's Han Solo.
Yeah.
And that was just, I mean, I almost wanted to cry when I really realized how good this was with Han Solo back. I was just like, wow, so thrilled.
Is it just me, or did it just feel like especially with him and Leia and Chewie, it just picked up right where they left off?
It did, right? It felt like they basically just, they were, doing their own thing for all this time, and we finally got a window back into, their universe and their world. And they just really did pick up right back, where they left off. Obviously, we didn't get much of Luke, which we'll talk about that later, but...
I got so much to say on that, holy smokes.
I love the fact that this is basically, Star Wars basically started out about Luke, Leia, and Han. And now, going forward is going to be Finn, Rey, and Poe.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the trifecta, this going around. And we got, we got good character out of them. We got what we wanted, as far as the characters that we felt like we could attach to. I did, I felt like I attached to each one of them right away. And that's not an easy thing to do in films. especially with films that had so much pressure on them to do that.
Yeah, to pull this movie off this way was just
Right.
I can't even imagine the pressure, and to see them succeed is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know JJ was getting them threats. So, I swear to God.
Poor God. I'm sure that was one of the many reasons he was nervous to even take it over in the first place. And for anyone, did you guys read the Vanity Fair article that came out about 6 months ago?
I did not.
I didn't.
So I picked that up right away because ever since going back to the prequel days, Vanity Fair always did like an earlier in the year blowout of everything about the new Star Wars film, starting with Phantom Menace. So I've got those 3 old ones. I picked this one up for this one as well because I was really excited to see that tradition continuing. And it's a great article, and there's a lot of talking to JJ and Kathleen Kennedy. And JJ talks about a little bit of what it was like when he was offered it. He was like the end of post-production on Star Trek Into Darkness. And they were like, you're basically our front-runner guy. There's a couple people on the short list, but JJ, we want you to direct Episode 7 Star Wars. And he was like, no, like, I can't do it. I want to be a fan. It's too much pressure. I don't know if it's my thing. Like, I'm so busy with Star Trek. But a really interesting tidbit is Kathleen Kennedy actually helped convince them by saying, okay, you don't want to do it, but let me ask you this one question before I leave you. Who is Luke Skywalker? She left him with that one question, and he couldn't get that out of his head. So he kind of thought about it for a while, and it was, again, my main man, George Lucas, actually called him and said, hey, like, are you going to do it? Because I think you should do it. And if you need me, I'm here, but long story short, you should direct Episode 7. And between Kathleen Kennedy's words and advice and George Lucas saying, like, do it, he basically was like, I'm on board. So it's a really great article. If you can find it, it's probably going to be a collectible, but it's an awesome article, and they go way deep into Kennedy and J.J. Abrams.
You also forgot that one more person did call him too. Mickey. Mickey, like,
Mickey Mouse.
who you think you was telling?
Don't turn your back on Mickey. Come on, JJ. Come on, let's go. Come on. Come on.
Now get on that block and make me my money.
Did you see me on South Park? Huh? Did you see me?
So yeah, that's the interesting thing about I think the pressure that JJ or anyone who would have been directing this movie would have. So, and you have to think that what he did too really probably alleviates some of the pressure on Colin Trevorrow and Rian Johnson, because they're going to build off of the initial building blocks from this film that has been so successful. Like, not surprisingly, not all, but most fans are very on board with this movie.
Yeah.
So,
do we want to go through and like break it down and then talk about
That's up to you, Jay. What do you say?
What's up, Jay?
Yeah, let's go on and break it down a little bit.
Let's do it. How it starts.
Right, so, T, your idea, you go.
Oh, God, on the spot.
Look at what you did.
All right, so the film basically starts with a traditional crawl that we see in every Star Wars movie, and it was awesome. I think it started off with what was it? Luke Skywalker is missing. It was very traditional, very reminiscent of all the crawls we've seen.
I just liked seeing Luke Skywalker's name first thing. I about peed myself. I was like, oh my God.
That was very cool. It was a little weird not getting the Fox thing beforehand because we.
I know, man. That's really sad.
But we got Lucasfilm, so that was cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, it basically starts off with Well, I guess I can go ahead and say that because a lot of the movie felt like a reimagining of A New Hope in many ways.
Yeah, which is the basis for a lot of people's complaints. But
right.
Yeah, it's very much was a paying homage to that. That's the thing is, people are mad because it's just like A New Hope, or it's just like the original trilogies are too similar, which I agree. I mean, like, I see what they're saying, and I have to kind of actually agree, but I don't see it as a bad thing. Personally.
I don't either.
I saw it as an homage more than just like a copying or that they were out of ideas, but some people disagree with that. So
I think it was a reaction to fans. I think we got the original trilogy. And then we got the prequels, and a lot of things in the prequels a lot of people didn't like.
Yeah, and I mean, and you can say like I know, like, we've talked about it so many times.
Yeah.
T is like not a fan of the prequels.
Not a fan of the prequels.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. And
you
Jay,
are.
I think you're somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the middle.
Yeah. So we got all three perspectives represented.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is good.
But I think and then we have again we're talking about the pressure being built up for this this next installment. So I think they were paying homage, but also playing it a little safe.
Yeah, you're definitely right with that. Yeah.
they wanted to make sure, the fans were in. We weren't going to be upset, and we weren't to be all online crying about everything that we hated.
Which is happening anyway.
Which is happening anywy, but maybe it's not as bad as it could have been.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and just being upset about things that could have been much different. But I think, like I said, I think they did it because they wanted to make sure the Star Wars fan that loves Star Wars, the original trilogy, we can say, okay, this is a Star Wars movie. There's no denying this is Star Wars.
Yeah, what they were able to do is make sure that it was a movie. If you're somebody who only likes the originals, you're gonna love this movie. And if you're someone who likes all of them, you're gonna love this movie.
Yeah, you're still gonna love it. So either way, Star Wars fans are gonna love this movie, both sides. So
yeah,
I think that's why they did it. So so. I'm having trouble because I'm thinking about New Hope at the same time. I'm thinking about, you get the Star Destroyer kind of ship shot, which is very cool. Like how it just covered that. Was it a moon or a planet? I can't remember. Just completely covered up the moon as it was going by. Again, trying to show dominance. But I think in many ways they were also telling you, these guys are Empire-like, but this isn't the Empire. This isn't. They're not on that level. And we'll talk about that going forward. But you basically get to shot Poe Dameron. He has plans to Luke's whereabouts because everybody wants to find out where Luke is, and that goes.
Which, by the way, that premise. I mean, we should talk about that premise because I think that's a great kind of hook or like template for where this story is going to be going. That Luke is the last Jedi. Everyone needs to find him. The good guys, the bad guys, all for different reasons. And the fact that everyone, like, he's this myth and this legend that is so important to everybody that we need to find this guy. We need to find the last remaining Jedi, the one and only Luke Skywalker.
Right. Like, he's the guy that can bring this back, because we're in an Empire-like situation where these guys are, threatening to take over the galaxy again, and we need the Jedi. We need a guy who can bring the Jedi back. And obviously, in the story, Luke, should we even go to there yet? He trains.
We can go. Well, we kind of have to.
Yeah, we kind of have to go to. We're gonna go for it. So he trains Leia.
Kylo Ren.
I didn't want to say his name yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I was gonna smooth into that, but yeah, he trains Leia and Han's kid Ben Solo, and Ben goes on to become Kylo Ren, which is the main antagonist. Can you take over? I need to do something real quick.
Yeah, no problem. Well, basically, he takes him in and. Rob, help me out here. Was it two? It was two other people, right?
Two other people was what? What do you mean?
When he went into training, because when they were talking about it in the movie, it was Ben and it was somebody else.
No, it was. Oh, you mean that Luke was training?
Yeah, that Luke was training.
I see what you mean. No, to my knowledge, I don't remember that. I think Kylo Ren was the one being trained.
Okay,
Kylo was the one being trained.
Yeah, just the one. And it seemed like Han and Leia were like fairly involved, like through the backstory that we didn't really see in this movie. Yeah. Like what they allude to is they were very involved. They knew that was, the path for their son. He was Force sensitive. Their good friend, and Leia's brother Luke was going to train him to be a Jedi. In this world where Luke was the last and only Jedi.
Right.
And so they let their Force-sensitive son move forward with that, and it kind of obviously fell apart. And that's why, I don't know if this would be a tangent or if this is on point. What's really interesting to me, if I can talk about Kylo Ren for a second, are you guys going to chat about him? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So tell me what you guys think about this. What I've seen with Kylo Ren is he is so much the embodiment of his family's history that it's crazy. He is... what's neat is it's almost like we catch him in the middle of Anakin Skywalker's full arc from.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Seriously, he is. Which remember, he and assuming Rey are descendants of Anakin Skywalker, of Darth Vader. Like these are his grandchildren, basically, and so it seems like we're catching. His grandchild, his grandson, in the middle of what Anakin Skywalker's full arc from young boy to when he's redeemed at the end of Return of the Jedi, the Death Star. That whole arc, we're kind of like right there. So when they talk about he was, Luke was training him, and then everything turned bad. He went to the dark side, and Luke was really guilty. It sounded like the backstory before Episode 7 begins to Kylo Ren is almost the same as, you know, Luke Skywalker with Obi-Wan or Anakin Skywalker also with Obi-Wan, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like he was being trained, he was everything looked great, he was going to be this great Jedi warrior, but he turned bad and something happened to him, and now he's in this suit by choice for Kylo Ren, and he's turned to the dark side and he's trying to achieve these evil things. Like, he's gone through already what Anakin went through in the prequel films, and now we're seeing what Anakin's going through in the original trilogy films by being the evil guy in the suit. Because of his training of the other Master Jedi, which in this new trilogy is Luke Skywalker, who's kind of maybe like the Obi-Wan character, if you guys see that at all. Or
Well, here's the thing about Kylo Ren, and we'll probably disagree, Rob, because you like the prequels.
Mm-hmm. I don't like him. I love him.
Well, you love him. Kylo Ren is what Anakin should have been, to me. He emoted so much of what I think...
I have a counterpoint to that, but go ahead.
He emoted so much of what I think Anakin's, what's his name, Hayden Christensen just struggled with. And I don't know if it was directing or definitely was writing, to me anyway. He just didn't come across as... I feel like Kylo Ren is an answer to people's gripes with Anakin. And, you know, that's totally... You know.
It could be. Like, I'm not going to deny how amazing Kylo Ren was, and there are so many similarities to Anakin Skywalker's story. And even
the helmet off, I totally saw Anakin in
like
Episode
Anakin.
3. You know,
yep.
So,
they're emulating that. My theory about this, and tell me if you guys get into this or not. You know, what I kind of think is happening there is when you look at what Kylo Ren's arc is in this film at his point in his journey, and what we see Anakin specifically do in the prequels only, it's very different. Like, we're seeing somebody who's already bad and evil who's trying to fight off the light side. What we see with Anakin Skywalker is somebody who is good and who's trying to remain good and is struggling with why he's turning bad. So he's a different person in that journey we see in episodes 1, 2, and 3 than Kylo Ren is at.
Well, I get that, but what I'm saying is, for
so
me,
again,
it wasn't executed enough. It wasn't executed well enough.
Sure, and that totally makes sense. Like, that's a different side of the argument. So I totally see what you're saying there. I mean, Adam Driver was amazing. There's no doubt there.
Yeah.
So, but like that's kind of the difference. Is like, it's weird. Like, I feel like Kylo Ren is meant to be embodying like several steps of Anakin's journey at once, and I think Rey might start to do the same if she is what a lot of us think she might be.
Yeah.
But
so let's go ahead and get into Rey's introduction, right?
Yeah.
He was kind of his character. Well, basically, we're introduced to her doing what she does in the trailer. What we saw her doing in the trailer, which is scavenging, you know, the old downed ships, and she does that. And she sells this, you know, parts and whatnot to this greasy dude, this greasy bartering, you know, kind of guy who is kind of like Watto a little bit, I guess. From the prequels,
but worse.
Yeah, and Watto had a lot of character. He's one of my favorite guys to quote.
Yeah, this guy didn't really have the character that Watto had.
No, he was really cool though.
But he was definitely still cool.
That was Simon Pegg's cameo, by the way.
Yep, that was.
I thought so. I wasn't sure, but I thought that was Simon Pegg. Cool. And you know, he was full on, no CG. He was a full on, you know.
I think his face was CG. Everything else wasn't.
I can't remember.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but that's what it looked like. So.
Yeah. But yeah, and she's doing that, and then she basically, like Luke, you know, you don't really see her like wanting the way he does. I guess he did in the original trilogy, the original New Hope.
Yeah, like Luke's head is in the clouds and all that kind of stuff.
Right, Luke's head was definitely in the clouds, but you can kind of see that with her a little bit. She wanted a little bit more, but she was probably more content because she kind of wanted to stay on Jakku. When the adventure was starting, I want to go back to Jakku.
She's like, I want to go back. It's like, why, goddammit?
Why would you want to do that?
Like, yeah, because that place sucked.
You know, but yeah, so and then she runs into BB-8 by chance, because that happens a lot in Star Wars movies. A lot of things happen by chance.
Yeah, that is the thing.
It's kind of a trope.
Yeah.
And BB-8 has a part of the map to where Luke is hiding. So, and that's how our adventure begins. He tries to get him back to Poe Dameron, who you can take over, Jay or Rob, as far as how Poe and Finn get
So, so people, would it be a spoiler to tell you that Max von Sydow is in this movie?
I forgot about poor Max.
That's a whole weird theory thing, man, with that guy.
Would it also be a spoiler to tell you that he dies within 3 minutes?
Oh man,
there's something with that guy.
I'm so glad he's in it, but damn.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, that didn't take long at all.
I'm like, I'm like, damn, Max von Sydow is in this movie.
Who do you guys think he is?
No longer in this movie now. How?
Who do you guys think he is? That's my question. Because he seemed like he was somebody pretty important.
Yeah, he knows a lot more than he basically put out there. His character has some background. Hopefully, they'll give us some of that. I think they will, because they're going to be doing like these side movies too, along with them.
I'm hoping that they will, because dude, literally, he shows up, he dies.
Yeah.
He says 3 lines and he dies.
Yeah.
So this is how we get introduced to your boy Finn, or FN, whatever the hell the rest of the number was. He is a stormtrooper. Now, they go to this village that's actually in Jakku, and he's him and Poe, Max von Sydow's character and Poe are talking, discussing, and at the time when he's about to say exactly what's going on, that's when you hear the sirens. You know what's coming. It's the First Order, not the Empire, but the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come, they pretty much lay waste. Kylo comes out, hey man, with a map. He don't say nothing. He gets cut down. Like I said, literally 3 minutes. Max von Sydow was dead.
Yeah.
So
what's really neat is they have like that back and forth where Kylo like knows him, recognizes him, and it's like, what is this about? Like that to me, that opening moment, like with just Poe and Max von Sydow's character in the tent, that actually felt more like Star Warsy and mystical and adventure-y than the scene that followed with the action and the stormtroopers and the explosions and Kylo Ren. Even though that was flippin' awesome, like the way it opened, I kind of wish we sat in that moment longer.
That was actually one of my complaints, because I felt like that scene should have been a little bit longer. Because of the simple fact that it's like there was some stuff that was about to be said, and then it stops.
Yeah, it's like, JK, LOL, I'm dead.
Yeah.
What was that? What scene were you talking about? Sorry.
That's okay. The opening scene with Poe and Max.
Yeah. So after that, Kylo orders the whole village be destroyed, basically, and you see one stormtrooper not shooting. He's like having a existential crisis. And the odd thing, and I didn't realize this at first, but it caught my eye right when they caught Poe, because Poe does get caught, and that's when he gives the piece of the map to BB-8 and tell him to get out of there. Kylo looks at Finn almost as if like something, like he felt something, and then he was like, okay, that can't be, and then he walks back on the ship.
A lot of people missed that.
Yeah, see, I wondered if that was that he felt something, or maybe did he notice that he wasn't firing?
No,
and,
I mean, he did that, but that was kind of look that he gave him wasn't indicative of that.
It was more than
because it was that look that most Force-sensitive people give somebody that don't know they got it,
right?
When they first find out they got it.
Yeah.
So that's the look that I got from that, and then you see,
and that's a lot of people's gripes, by the way, is that he is not a Jedi, or they feel like he's not the Jedi that the materials ahead of time were showing that.
Get out of here!
Going to be the Jedi. I've heard a lot of people say that, but the thing is, he still could be.
He still could be.
He could be.
Yeah.
What I want to say about that is, as much as I love the character of Finn, despite being a little forcefully funny, I kind of don't want him to be a Jedi, because we're dealing with like the protagonist Jedi, obviously, in Rey, and the antagonist Sith with Kylo Ren, and I don't really know that we need like the 2 of our 3 main characters to be Force sensitive and to be Jedi. And you think of other shows and stuff we've seen, like Heroes, where it's like, oh god, every new character is another superhero. Now it's not unique anymore.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I agree with you. Definitely agree with your point. My wanting him to be a Jedi is a bit personal. because he is black, and it's kind of it'd be awesome for, especially young kids.
I can't argue with that, of course.
A black Jedi in, running things, basically a main character. So it's kind of a personal reason for me that I would like to see him be one.
And that's justifiable. You do have Mace Windu. We were chatting about Mace.
Yeah, I heard you chatting about Mace. Mace didn't really do much.
Not until the end movie where he was awesome until he died. But which I still think he's not dead, and so that's a whole other thing. But you make a good point, and like for that reason, I think it is definitely important, and it's why I think it's important to even see Rey as a female.
Definitely,
I
was going to get to that. Yeah,
what is potentially the lead Skywalker? Like that's so cool too.
And they were kind of hitting us over the head a little bit by saying she doesn't need to be saved. Did you notice that? Like every time Finn was about to save her, she already took care of it. She was like, I got this.
Like she's fixing the Millennium Falcon and all that stuff.
She came out and said, "Stop holding my hand. I know how to run." So I mean, that was definitely telling you guys, "Hey, I'm not a damsel in distress here."
And I actually want to bring that up because of the simple fact that when Finn, the way they have Finn, like Finn is trying to get away from being whatever happened when he snaps. He's trying to get away from them. So every time he's about to like go, but he sees somebody need help, he always goes and helps them.
Right.
Regardless.
Yeah, he is the goodest of the good.
Yeah.
Like he is so pure, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's what makes me actually believe he is actually force sensitive and actually could be that because they kept showing. If they wouldn't have kept showing that, I wouldn't believe it.
And he doesn't need to like be out in the front for doing Jedi things, but watching him maybe learning over the course of the trilogy and being able maybe in the third act being able to do some cool stuff.
I mean, it's certainly they laid the groundwork for him to be, so I totally agree with that. And also, don't get me wrong, I am okay with it happening because he is a great character so far. So it's like, okay, like he's awesome, he can be a Jedi. She could be a Jedi. I have theories on where her character may go, though, so that's a whole other thing we can talk about near the end.
Right.
So yeah, I think that would be certainly awesome, and there's also more characters that could end up getting introduced too. So
we're
only going off of one movie at this point.
This is Star Wars, so they'll drop characters on you like that.
Oh yeah.
And that's where like the Finn and Rey meeting at first is actually hilarious and actually it's a very exciting sequence or a series of sequences.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the most fun moments in the entire series or show.
And isn't that one thing about this movie that it barely lets you breathe? There was stuff going on happening pretty much all the way through.
Which I actually I have to give J.J. Abrams credit. The movie's over 2 hours long, and you don't feel it.
Don't feel it at all.
That's definitely true.
You do not feel it at all, and that's a good thing. Because I hate when movies drag, especially movies like Star Wars. I hate when they drag. I don't like just sitting there. Let's move on to the next thing. Especially
well, that was the thing about A New Hope, right? That first 40 minutes was a little rough.
That's the thing is all the other movies, both the older ones and the new ones, have moments like that, and I kind of like that. I like that in all of them.
Yeah, but I like it.
I can see how people can see it as like kind of dragging too. Right. This one had a crazy fast pace, I agree, which is mostly good. It might have been like a little bit too much, and I think I kind of wish there were actually there was some moments to have room to breathe. So it's kind of a little bit different, Jay, than how you look at it. I like those breathing moments, and I'm totally fine with a 5 or 10 minute scene that's just all dialogue between characters. I like that in a lot of movies, and especially in Star Wars, because that's when you can get into what it means to be force sensitive, what it means to have the Jedi, what's really happening with the political climate, who is Snoke really? Like, let's get behind that stuff. But
no. I think you misunderstand. Like when I say I don't like dragging movies, I'm talking about when it's dragging 20, 30 minutes. I'm not talking about
that's too long.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the 5, 10, 15 minutes. No, I'm talking about the 20, 30 minutes, and you just sitting there like, do something.
Yeah, even 15 minutes sounds a little rough.
But
I was initially gonna have that as one of my gripes is the pacing is way too boom 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 quick things are happening. But I looked at again we have to judge these movies against the other movies too. I looked at even A New Hope, even though it kind of drags in the beginning when you're getting introduced to the world, it goes Luke starts learning the Force and. Boom, he's he's piloting the ship, and boom, he's in the trench. It goes.
It goes really fast. It does go very fast. And you kind of realize when you go back and look at A New Hope, it's because of that. Like, you kind of realize it's one of the movies where there's really not a whole lot of different things that happen in A New Hope. There really isn't. It just goes.
It's really focused. Yeah,
it's very focused. And once things pick up, it just kind of goes, like you said, just boom, boom, boom. And then it's over and the Death Star is done and they're just handing out medals and credits are rolling. And you're like, oh, whoa. Yeah. Like, if you look at it through, like, the lens of I've seen this movie a million times and you go back and watch it, you kind of notice that about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, still a masterpiece, so that's fine. So there's that.
Yeah. For sure. So, talking about it, let's go on and get into some of the things we didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go and get into some of the things we didn't like. I want to start this one off because there was at least a couple of characters that I had an issue with, and one of them was because they hardly got any screen time. Captain Phasma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They made it seem like in all 3 trailers, they made it seem like this was going to be a character to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
She has 2.5 scenes.
Yeah, that's the Star Wars thing. We talked about that with Boba Fett and Maul and all that stuff.
Yeah,
sometimes they don't beat you over the head with awesome things sometimes, and it takes a while.
They don't. But at the same time, when you like putting that much emphasis, and I'm sitting up there like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. Let's see how badass this character really is, and they don't do jack.
Yeah. And if you realize, this will kind of make it sting even more. The one thing that she does is she gets socked in the face.
Yes.
That's the only thing that Phasma does, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, if she at least threw the punch, that would almost feel a little bit better. But she receives a punch to the face and gets duped, and that's all she does in the film.
Yeah,
and it's so unfortunate.
It wouldn't be bad if I didn't know who the actress was, and I actually like that actress. It's Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones. She plays Brienne Tarth, so she can act.
She's amazing.
Actually awesome.
Yeah, but you got to realize, Star Wars kind of operates on a different kind of storytelling mode.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is.
It was just my gripe.
She might be badass in Rogue One. I'm sure she's gonna be in Rogue One.
She better be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Rogue One takes place a long time before this. Rogue One takes place. Yeah, Rogue One is the Rebels. Yeah, Rogue One is, just quick aside, it's the Rebels stealing the Death Star plans from the Geonosians, leading right up to Episode 4. Yeah.
Oh, so forget that then.
Yeah, sorry, it didn't mean to crap on your part.
Episode 8, she could be a bigger part. And here's the thing, like you guys were talking about Boba Fett, and I love it's kind of hypocritical because like Boba Fett, oh my God, he's such a revered character, and he basically nods and falls into a Snarlock pit.
I don't know why.
And it's just like, but he's so revered in Star Wars lore. I'm like, well, in the movies, we didn't see much Boba Fett. And yet,
I don't know why he's revered.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it's kind of that deifying that happens with Star Wars.
Yeah, and you're totally right with how it's that mystery, and it's what Star Wars does, and Jay and I were talking before you got in how he's like, God, Maul is one of my favorite characters, and I'm pissed at George Lucas for killing him so fast, and it's like, that's just the way Star Wars has always been, and people eat it up. They eat it up.
Yeah.
But with Phasma, it's a little bit different. One of my buddies who I saw with back in Denver, he pointed this out to me. I didn't realize this happened, but only a few weeks before Episode 7 came out, Kathleen Kennedy apparently let it slip and has confirmed that Phasma will be back. The only actually confirmed character to be back, even though there are some obvious ones. She actually said, "Oh yeah, we got Phasma, Gwendolyn Christie coming back," and it was kind of like not supposed to have been said.
Yeah.
So we do know that she's not like done.
Well, you don't hire a talent like that and then just not do.
I mean, it's one of those things where like people are gonna find out anyway because of the other stuff that she's involved with.
Yeah, this is the internet age, so.
Yeah, totally. Well, and look at, it took Samuel L. Jackson like 2 movies to finally start really doing stuff too.
Right.
Remember, he was like, "Oh my God, Samuel L. Jackson's a Jedi in Star Wars," and he basically
just kind of sat in the room.
Yeah. All he did is tell Anakin to F off. We're not training you. That's like,
yeah. And another, this is a gripe that I had, and I know I'm not gonna win any points with people for this one, but let me just get my point out, all right? Before y'all crucify me.
Do it.
As much as I like Adam Driver's portrayal of Kylo Ren, there were 2 times in this movie where I was like, you know what? He's not scaring me. And I can't be afraid. I can't be intimidated. I don't understand why people are saying they were intimidated by him, because he throws a temper tantrum like he's a 3-year-old.
That's a family trait, as far as I see it.
That is a family trait. That is a family trait. But the way they did it, it was literally like a 3-year-old. Like when Anakin threw a temper tantrum, he killed people.
Yeah.
But up until that point, he was pretty menacing. No.
You mean Kylo Ren?
Yeah,
Kylo Ren
was.
Yeah.
He was menacing. And I think
I
that
think
was
the
on purpose.
illusion.
I think they were trying to tell you guys, hey, this isn't going to be Darth Vader.
I'm
not going to be Darth Vader.
I understand that because it was like one thing where it was one of the times he was throwing a tantrum where the guy came, to tell him the bad news. I'm like, oh, he's finna die. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is he still alive?
I wonder if what we're looking at is because with Kylo Ren, like his weakness, unlike Anakin's weakness, like Anakin's weakness was he was too proud and he was too strong to know how to control it after learning what it meant to love someone. So his strength was too much. With Kylo Ren, it kind of seems like his strength actually isn't enough, and he knows it, and he's trying to be cocky, and he's like almost what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's not
He's trying to find a way to. He's trying to find a way to actually live up.
He's
to,
insecure. That's the word I'm looking for. Like he's insecure about it.
Yeah.
He's
a
basically a fanboy.
Yeah,
Like,
he is. He's
a
a
Darth Vader fanboy. Like he is not what Darth Vader is. He doesn't. He didn't like as much as he reveres Darth Vader and much as he wants to be like him. He doesn't know what it took to become Darth Vader. He doesn't know that. And maybe the guy teaching him, because remember at the end of the movie, he says we're going to complete his training. So he hasn't even completed his training.
Oh yeah, he's got stuff to do.
So
which his training started with Luke.
Right.
And then it's turned into something else.
Exactly. Which is a very good point because I heard some people saying that he was a Sith. I'm like, he is not a Sith.
He's not a Sith.
He is not a Sith.
I'm not sure if anybody's a Sith in this movie.
Yeah, nobody's a Sith in this movie.
Maybe not. It's tough because Maz Kanata, I think, or Kanata, like she referenced the Sith.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be like what's kind of happening with evil right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely could be right. Like it's hard to know really if Kylo Ren is actually a Sith or not.
Well, not yet because his training isn't even complete.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he's not a Sith Lord. He ain't Darth Crybaby.
He got whooped by somebody that doesn't even learn the Force really yet.
Yeah. So,
but then
if you had to give him a title, he would probably be like an Inquisitor or something.
Something like that, or something akin to what Asajj Ventress was, who wanted to be a Sith,
right?
And just couldn't achieve it, mostly because Dooku wouldn't let her, because he was like manipulating her. But that same idea of like super powerful in the Force, super powerful wielding the dark side, but not like living it, not embodying what it meant to actually be a part of the dark side. Yeah. And it's like maybe he isn't quite getting that. And I can even add a little bit more insight into this, because this is just the Star Wars nerd I am. I saw a really interesting, fast interview with JJ about Kylo Ren. Did either of you guys see that? It was like a 1.5 minutes long.
I think I did.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've been watching a lot of
lately.
So.
Yeah, and so what he did, what JJ said about Kylo Ren was like mind-blowing to me. He mentions how Kylo Ren is obviously, like you said, T, like a Darth Vader fanboy, right? That's his whole thing. But what he sees in Darth Vader, who's his grandfather, who is his flesh and blood, he sees somebody who is like the most powerful and most amazing being, but somebody who failed, somebody who was tempted and defeated by his weakness, and his weakness being the light side. Mm-hmm. He saw Darth Vader's redemption at the end at the Death Star with Luke as almost being a traitor, as being somebody who like let the enemy win by letting himself love his son like he was always supposed to. And he's like, and when he says, I will finish what you started, and this is all from JJ, by the way. So when he's like, when he says, I will finish what you started, what he meant was Darth Vader started by becoming the most powerful, most amazing Sith and bringing balance to the Force and doing all these things. But then he was cut short because the light side won and infected him and literally changed him. So that great scene where Kylo Ren is talking to the Vader helmet, and he's like, I feel the pull of the light side, and I need to fight against this, which is why he does that horrible thing in the middle of the movie. He doesn't want to be afflicted by the same weakness Vader had, which was basically turning good.
Right.
So it's this weird like amalgamation of like, again, both of Anakin Skywalker's arcs, both from turning good to bad and then bad to good, and he's trying to fight against it.
Right.
So it's like where that will take him, I have no freaking idea, but it's super damn interesting.
I have an idea, and it's probably ripped it straight from the expanded universe, but that's for a different time.
Stay on target. On target.
Stay on target.
You
Jay, you switched off your targeting computer.
Actually, like those were like the only like two problems that I actually had, and there is one more small thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any of y'all seen The Raid?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Both of them.
Y'all do realize Rama
I know, yeah.
and Mad Dog is in this movie, right?
Yeah, and they
of course. I was geeking out when I heard they were doing the choreography. I was like, what?
I'm like, okay, they gonna show him fight. They gonna show him what the.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Again.
They might not all be dead.
Dude, I hope
the Raid guys.
All dead. I'm hoping they're not all dead. I'm hoping they're not. But you don't understand how good it is to see.
We didn't see them get, all of them get snuffed. So.
Yeah, we couldn't see who was getting eaten.
Yeah, you couldn't see who was getting eaten. But I'm just
how
saying,
great would it be? They came out and they got all these scars and whatnot, and they're
like, we survived.
All I'm saying is, it was good to see them on screen, and I'm like, Han has actually talked himself into an ass whooping he ain't gonna be able to get out of.
Yeah, that's true. He was not going to survive.
No, that was not for him to win.
Yeah, nope. It took a huge monster to get out of that.
Exactly.
So I mean, but yeah, I'm hoping, because I haven't heard anything about them at all. So I'm hoping they're back for 8. I'm hoping.
I think it's entirely. They could even just play different people.
They totally could. I mean, this is
Yeah.
Star Wars, so they can totally put on a mask and be somebody else.
Yeah, so that was my only other gripe. It was like, Roman Mad Dog's in this. We're going to see some Raid type fighting.
I mean, as long as
the choreography throughout, so
for all the movies.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, those guys are incredible.
Yeah.
And their choreography is awesome. So
yes,
I have to give them that. I'm actually intrigued to see if they actually like let them choreograph a couple of lightsaber scenes like that.
I'm sure they did
in freaking Raid 2. So that was my only thing. Y'all got anything y'all want to add to the?
Let me go. Please.
I've got quite a few, but yeah, T, you can go for it.
I only have a couple. So gripes. Like we said, this is basically kind of a reimagining, if you will, a remake almost even of a New Hope. And so one of the biggest things, this is probably my biggest gripe. I'm going to read it off my paper because I wrote it down.
Good man.
Starkiller Base is just a bigger Death Star that does exactly what the Death Star does, while needlessly swallowing a sun to do it. Okay?
Yeah.
That is my biggest gripe. I was totally, I felt like I was taken out of the movie when they showed, like, all right, this is the Death Star. And then here is Starkiller Base, and it was like 8 times as big.
Yeah, and you're like, that doesn't make it better.
It's a damn planet.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's like, that doesn't make it better or scarier. Like,
that makes it worse.
So it's bigger, but it does the same exact thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. If it took out galaxies, then we can talk.
Yeah.
It took out some. I think it took out
5 at a time. I think 5 or 6.
Did it take out Coruscant, by the way?
We were talking about that, and I am like 95% sure that couldn't have been Coruscant.
Please.
The reason why
I think we'll go to Coruscant in 8 or 9.
Well, hold on.
Because it looked a lot like Coruscant.
Coruscant is where the
city planet. Yeah.
It's the capital of the galaxy. It's where the Senate is.
Yeah, that planet was nothing but lights. It's one big city planet, so I think that was Coruscant that got blown up.
I have a feeling that might have been Coruscant, man.
I just feel like they would have made it so much more obvious and tragic. It's not impossible. Like, they didn't give us enough to know for sure.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
I mean, I
then
really
again,
hope
we
not,
thought
though,
Jakku was
Tatooine.
So
yeah.
You don't know. You just don't know.
But that just seems
exactly like Tatooine.
It's too important, and like
exactly.
because they reference the Senate in the beginning of the movie. The New Republic has to operate from somewhere,
right?
And like they mentioned the clone army, which you'd have to think it's either on Kamino or it's on Coruscant. Like, if you blow it up, you make it a really big dramatic deal. I think.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
You never know.
That's why. Yeah, you just never know. But I think I exactly agree with you, Rob. I think if they were going to blow up Coruscant, it would have been a little bit bigger deal than.
Yeah, because it would. I mean, it completely would change the political climate of the entire story going forward too.
Yeah, it still kind of does, because I think this new Senate obviously operated on that planet, whatever it was. So
yeah,
it's
so
going to
hopefully
make
we see the after effects there.
Yeah, there's going to be some implications from that. Okay, so that was my biggest one. And like I guess this is part of it. You know, at times the movie felt like a reimagining of New Hope, so we kind of went into that. Okay, so next one is no big action set piece that kind of blew me away.
Agreed.
And part of that could be we're just so numb to it now. Like we've seen so much stuff, especially with CG.
It's like, how do you impress people, kind of thing?
How do you really exhilarate people? But I felt like I was in Guardians of the Galaxy. I felt like there was that scene, the space towards the end of the movie. There's a fighter scene. They're in space or whatever. I felt like I was exhilarated through that. So I don't know. Maybe. Again, I don't know if it's just we're just.
So what did you think of and this probably should be even for like a different conversation, but what did you think about the way the lightsaber fight happened then? Because that's kind of really the action set piece.
Yeah, I mean, I love the lightsaber fight, and I loved it because it didn't feel like a choreographed kind of a deal. You felt the emotion in the lightsaber fight. Again, back to the prequels. I know you liked them. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I felt like that was what was missing. I felt like. A lot of those fights just was okay. You swing and then I'll block and then you punch and I'll move. It just felt really choreographed to me.
It's still pretty amazing, and I hope that we get more of that in the films going forward. But I definitely see what you're saying, and it was to the strength of these lightsaber fights in episode 7 for sure.
It wasn't
I agree with
I'm
that.
a crazy. That's one of the things I loved from the trailer when I saw Finn. Backing away from Kylo Ren, basically, and that fear in his face, like he wasn't like, all right, I can handle this, no big deal. Yeah. You can see the fear of him.
Well, but that's also a story thing, because if you look at what's happening in the prequels, you're looking at trained Jedi living the life of a Jedi, fighting others, so they're not going to be afraid. Finn is like, I'm a regular guy. Oh my god, a lightsaber. Oh my god, a Sith. Like, holy
I'm not
shit,
disagreeing with that. I'm just saying the outcome of that is we get these kind of robotic fights. I'm not disagreeing with the the motivation, like you're saying, but I just felt like because of that we got kind of robotic lightsaber battles. But
they're super choreographed. I agree.
Yeah. Like that wasn't a problem. But the thing is, I can't remember exactly. Again, this is about what stood out, and I don't think any one thing stood out, action set piece wise, even a lightsaber. I guess obviously Finn and Rey and Kylo Ren going at it stands out because of the implications of that. But obviously that definitely stands out because, like I said, the story implications that brought.
Yeah,
and can I add something to that, T? I agree with you that nothing did stand out, and I think one of the main problems is because of A New Hope, where at the end, you had the trench run and all that.
Yes, and that's another thing that took away from it.
The same thing, but in a different way.
It was in a different way, reimagined, right? So, like the whole.
I think that's what happened with that. But I will say this: the lightsaber fight between Kylo and Finn first, and then Kylo and Rey, to me, were actually good because I like it. I like it when the story actually has a single. I done got numb to the whole big action set piece. I'm actually getting back to where I like it when it's a more meaningful fight. And Finn, when Rey gets knocked out, Finn is like, you know what? Screw it.
You feel it. You feel his like,
desire,
right?
He's basically like, I don't care no more. Yeah. So, because he's like, that lightsaber belongs to me. He's like, come get it then. I'm like, bro.
When he said, "Come talking about goosebumps," I was jumping up.
Yeah.
I was like,
so great.
And here's something. Here's one thing that I was telling my nephew last night. I'm like, when you think about it, Finn actually tags him twice. He tags him on the arm. He tags him on the leg.
Yeah.
He tags him on the opposite arm and the opposite leg.
Yeah.
So it's one of them situations.
It was a real fight. It was a real battle.
Yeah, it was actually a battle, and it felt like more intimate, I should say.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do agree with you. Like in the Star Wars, we're so used to seeing
Yes. I was gonna say, from my perspective, it wasn't that. But imagine like the kid who I was like what, I don't know, 8 or 9 when I saw I didn't see it in theaters, A New Hope. I saw it much later, but I was like, the first time I saw that trench run was just the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life. Imagine a kid who hadn't seen the original trilogy and him seeing this. Maybe this is his trench run. Maybe this is A New Hope. So
that's true.
That's why you have to take yourself out of it a little bit and just step back. Like, all right, this isn't all for me. This is all obviously for new fans and younger fans who weren't, attuned to this stuff the way I am. So
yeah, I mean nowadays, because you brought up such a good point, it is hard to blow people away anymore. So one of the only audience you really can blow away are people who are so young they've never seen anything.
Right, they've never seen that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you have to blow us away with emotions and with implications, like you guys were saying. Those are the things that stick with us. You know, I mean, the visuals sometimes, but after seeing like all the Star Wars movies and Avatar and The Matrix, it's like, what else is there?
What else are you gonna get me with?
I mean, you can't really go too many. It's got to be like the story, and it's more why things are happening, not how things are happening.
Exactly.
You know, more than anything. Although you do get those perfect moments. Like, to me, I really wonder if this trilogy will be able to supersede the way the Return of the Jedi thing happens, because it's the best moment of the series. I don't know if it'll ever get better than Luke and Vader and Palpatine showing off at the end.
That's gonna be tough.
I mean, there will never be a better moment in Star Wars than I am a Jedi like my father before me. I get tingles when I fucking say it. Like, it's so good. And
we won't know until the end of Episode 8 if it could get that great.
That's true, because I think Episode 8 is going to follow the Empire template of being the middle and darker film. So, especially with Rian Johnson being the director, I think he's going to pull off that darker tone. Colin Trevorrow is going to pull off the Jedi Phantom Menace kind of happy fun thing. And I'm excited to see, I think, the trilogy end on the lighter note.
Yes.
So when it gets dark and heavy, if that truly does happen in Episode 8, that'll, like you said, T, that'll be a good indication of if this trilogy can achieve those same heights. And I would argue, for me, you know, again, as a fan of all the films, when Obi-Wan and Anakin square off and you see their relationship fall apart, that was huge for me too. Nowhere near the level of depth that Jedi had, but those moments are huge. If they can just at least match the emotional impact for those of us that enjoyed the prequels that happened with Obi-Wan and Anakin, that would be good.
I checked out of that fight. That was because of it just went on a little too long. And they were doing some extraordinary things like floating, 2 feet above lava pits, and not feeling the effects at all.
That's, I mean, definitely more than the originals. You have to suspend disbelief on the prequels, which I think is the cool thing about them. But it's the thing that also didn't work for a lot of people.
Yeah,
for me it worked, but for you it didn't, and that's fine.
Like I was totally involved when he got to the mountainside, and then lava was coming down, and what's his name? Anakin jumps and he gets cut in half.
That shit was amazing.
I was in then.
But,
5 minutes.
It's a long
before
fight.
That, it was like kind of ridiculous for me. But
the reason why the fight was long was because they were interlocking it with Yoda and Palpatine.
Yeah, but that's a great moment. That whole thing still gives.
They were trying to. He was juggling too many endings, and so a lot of other stuff got stretched out, and I think that's what hurt.
I find it all perfect personally, but that's just me. I mean, obviously there's imperfections in all the movies, and even though I love the prequels, I will still agree that there's more imperfections in those by far. But I think that those are the moments that just hit the beat so perfectly. And so the conclusion to Sith is almost on par with Jedi for me. Not quite, but almost.
It hurts.
Remember, a lot of people feel that way. That's kind of the weird thing about Star Wars and the weird position it's in, is there's a lot to pull from, and some people are going to pick and choose, and other people, just buy into the whole thing, and I buy into the whole thing, and you maybe not so much, and that's fine. But
I think it could have. From my perspective, could have been on the same level, but wasn't.
Yeah, it did what it did. If anything, there are great story beats that I think are going to be really making a good impact on the universe going forward. And so I'm really excited to see what they do with that stuff.
Yeah. All right, real quick, my last gripe, I think Rob, you touched on it actually a little earlier, was a couple of overly quippy lines, like between banter between basically between Finn and Rey. The whole cute boyfriend thing was like that kind of took me out of Star Wars for a second. It felt a little forced, like you were saying.
It's one of those hard things, right? Because Finn is freaking awesome.
Yeah,
he's such a great character, but then those things happen. You're like, ouch.
Yeah, that's stuff that reads really well on paper and it doesn't translate so well. I kind of just wish they would, maybe it was too hard to edit that out.
They could have waited on that line though.
Yeah, it was just
that could have waited.
We weren't there yet with Finn and Rey yet. I don't think.
Yeah,
it was a little.
Yeah, and even like the way that humor is,
he's
like,
a guy and she's a girl, so of course they,
Yeah, it just kind of feels like a line specifically, even like that, just seems out of place in Star Wars. It
was out of place.
Yeah.
But that was my. I have gripes of gripes.
Yeah.
But we can get into that later or whatever. They're really quick too. So
Gotcha.
go ahead, Rob. I guess you're up next, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I have kind of a good amount, and like I still have to say this movie is still like a 10 out of 10 for me. But that's because it is like the Star Wars movie that we wanted it to be. That doesn't mean that there aren't still like little nitpicky issues, like you said. And like I'll even just build off what you said. Like Finn was such an amazing character. I'm loving Boyaga's portrayal of Finn. But it's because he was kind of like the funny guy. I feel like they just forced it too much, like we just said. I will say that all the individual moments of his humor, just as their own moments, are actually like pretty funny and cleverly put together. But there's too many of them, and a lot of them happen just in out-of-place scenes where it's like, why would you, like, don't say another thing before you go do a thing. Just do the thing and don't say anything about it,
Right.
And that's
why are you even saying that?
Yeah, don't be funny yet. Like, it's okay.
It's a little forced here and there.
It definitely was a little forced, no pun intended. And that was a little rough to see. I do appreciate why they did it, because they were trying to make it still feel like fun. I was a little worried they were going to go so dark with this new trilogy. And it's like, I even just said in a video I made recently, it's like people get way too wrapped up in Star Wars being dark.
Cool.
Like, Star Wars really...
Because
you weren't. Yeah, you
Disney's
good
not
for
going to
you.
let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be dark moments in it for sure, like, but it can't be just like pure dark. So it's good that they try to keep it funny.
And there were dark moments in this movie, so.
Oh yeah, and I think there's more to come too.
Yeah.
A one that we haven't touched on yet, and I'm curious to hear you guys what you think about it. Is it's a little fan servicey, and
oh boy,
arguably,
I know where you're going.
yeah, arguably too much, man. Like we don't need. Like there's a couple good fan servicey moments, like you piloted the Millennium Falcon that did the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs, and he's like, I was 12. Like that's a great moment.
That was great.
But he sits down at the thing, and the hollow chest comes up. Like, okay, like we get it. You had to show that again. And what's the other thing he said? Do we have a trash compactor on the detention level? And it's like, really? Like you don't maybe need to throw in our face that yes, Star Wars was a thing and we all love it. Like you don't have to do that kind of stuff. So those things.
One of my gripes of grapes, because I didn't feel like that was too big of a deal. Like I didn't feel like that was too bad, actually.
You mean that one specifically, or just the whole idea?
Well, the accidentally turning on the what was the game called?
The chess.
The chess game.
It's just hollow chess, is what.
Hollow chess, and then the little, like you just said, the trash compactor thing. That didn't really I knew exactly what it was, but it wasn't like, oh my God, they're really, come on. Yeah. For me,
I mean, I
see how people were, bothered by it.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it, and it's not like I don't like those little fan servicey moments for sure, but my friend who I referred to a couple minutes ago too, he said one of his concerns is basically worried it was going to be fan service the movie, and it almost was with all of those moments. There was quite a few of them, but they don't detract. Like again, don't get me wrong, I still love the movie. Those moments are really fun, so I appreciate them. It was maybe a little bit too much. I'm going to talk about a really big one, and you guys can tangent off this if you want, but I got to get my thoughts out about this. Han Solo's death. So that's a huge thing we haven't talked about yet.
That a gripe or?
Well, that's like in a gray area for me. Overall, it kind of exists as a gripe for me, even though it was a really good moment, because I really hate the fact that he died.
Well,
like as a fan, yeah,
I would think
everyone did, and I specifically did, and I did for a couple of reasons. One, like the easy one is I love the character, so I don't want him to die. Okay, Han Solo's dead. That sucks. The other one is. It was so obvious. It's like really like, okay, like everyone's been talking about Han Solo dying for the past 30 years. Everyone's like, is Han gonna die in this movie? They're gonna kill Han.
Han Solo's been talking about Han Solo dying.
Exactly.
He wanted to die.
He wanted to die. So
Return of the Jedi, he wanted to die. So
yeah, and that scene started, and I was telling my girlfriend and my friends and stuff too, like when that scene started, I knew instantly. Like even like as soon as there was a walkway and he saw Kylo Ren walk, and I was like, this is it. Fucking Han Solo's about to die, and I was so mad about it.
I knew before then. I knew when Leia said, "Go talk to our son."
Yeah, that's what I'm like. He did. He did. Yeah, he just died.
I didn't want to believe it, but I felt it then, and then
you felt it coming.
Stuff started coming. I was like, "Oh, boy,
it's gonna happen."
If you watch a lot of movies like we do, you should have saw that coming right then. As soon as that line got said,
totally.
When he hugged her, he gone.
And then when the sun came up, or it was being swallowed, and you saw the red on the side of I was like, oh, that's it.
Yep.
Red indicates death.
And when Rey and Finn and Chewbacca all run in and they're looking down on the two of them, I'm like, this is the end. Like
it was very much Obi-Wan. getting swiped down by
it is.
Peter there. So
I feel like it was. I feel like it was just too easy to be like, okay, we're gonna kill Han Solo off. So it almost felt like a cop out. I feel like it also doesn't benefit the story really to kill him in this movie as opposed to maybe in 8 or 9. That's kind of something I feel like it was just like too quick to just like bring him back and get rid of him. And even though it's a great shock and a great twist,
well, I thought we'd be on two different sides of this. I thought you'd be the one that'd be like cool with the death, and I would be, oh my god, and
angry about it.
Yeah.
Well, what I will say, like on the good side of it, I think there's two things there. One is how he died and why he died were great because it's for Kylo's character that he died.
Yeah.
So what that's going to mean for Kylo going forward, awesome, and I can accept it for that. Also, the other one is my personal theory I've also been sharing with a lot of my friends since we've seen it, is I'm willing to bet, and T, I bet you might agree with this with what you guys just said too, I bet it was in Harrison Ford's contract. I would think he was like, all right, George.
Oh, it was.
and
I was
Disney,
going to get to that.
like, you guys want me back. I'm going to do it one time. You got me for one movie, and you better just get rid of me, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
And if that really is what happened, and maybe you know if that is like an actual fact, if that's what happened.
That is a fact.
Okay,
Actually,
he said you got to kill me off, basically.
He said you got to kill me off. I'm not coming back for any more movies, basically. He said that.
And so that being the case means, you know what? It's a worthy trade. Like, I would rather have had him back for this one movie and be as good as he was and see him die in a good way that benefits another character.
And he was going around, waving and at fans and doing all the little press junkets. And he was
He's
happy.
like, I'll never see you sweaty nerds again.
Han Solo's back and he's happy to be in Star Wars movies. No, he was happy because he was done.
Yeah.
That's
and
why
I'm going to leave you with one more sad thing about this, though. This is what hurts me the most, and I think why I'm most angry about it. We will now never see Han Solo and Luke Skywalker on screen together in this trilogy.
Yeah,
and that just hurts, man.
Thanks a lot for that. I didn't even think about that at all.
I'm sorry, man. But that honestly, I think that's what made me the most mad about it. Is like what he's supposed. I want to see him find Luke. I want to see them see each other for the first time in how many decades?
I think everybody
not going to get a ghost because he wasn't of the Force.
Yeah, he'll never see a Force ghost of Luke. Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Here's the thing.
They gave us metachlorines. They can throw us a bone with that.
Yeah, I'd let that happen. We're going to recreate Han Solo. They could just clone him. Maybe that's what they do.
There you go.
I mean, they're cloners. Damn good ones, too.
There's some good CG in Terminator Genesis where they made Arnold out of CG. So
it's true. They could do it.
Here's the thing about the whole Han Solo death. Somebody had to die.
Sure.
Somebody had to. I
think we all knew somebody was going to die.
I felt like because the way the movie was going, I'm like, dude, somebody important needs to die.
I thought it was going to be Leia going in, but
I thought it was going to be Leia too.
I actually was thinking.
I thought it was going to be Leia, but when the whole reveal about the son, and then when she was like, "You need to go talk to our son. You're his father," and then he hugged her, I'm like, "Oh, he dead."
Yeah, he so dead.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned Akbar. Wasn't it awesome to see Akbar again?
I knew he was going to be in it.
I was geeking out.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I knew he was going to be in it. That I had seen a couple of things, but it was still when he was there. I was like, yeah. I'm reading Aftermath right now, which is the book that takes place between 6 and 7. About halfway through it, it actually takes place about 2 months after they blow up the second Death Star at the end of Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of got some things going on in that book too. So like I'm kind of learning about how he's involved in the formation of the New Republic and like early on before the Resistance becomes a thing and before the First Order becomes a thing. So it's cool to like kind of be reading about him and seeing where he's going in this movie.
I always loved. He was one of those small characters that I think is beloved. Even though he wasn't on screen that much, but he was just one of those guys.
He's freaking amazing.
He's awesome. He's a catfish.
So I'm also one of those guys, you talk about Leia being the one to die. I'm kind of one of those weirdos that was thinking maybe it would be Luke. And in a crazy way, even though I love Luke more than Han Solo, I would have preferred Luke to have more to do in this movie and for him to be the one who died as opposed to Han.
And he could have been a Force ghost.
Well,
yeah, and I think that the story could be better with Luke dying, being the Jedi the Return of the Jedi, than Han Solo just be like, "Oh, I'm dead." I think
Luke
that could
still die though.
But I think we still have some arc with Luke.
Yeah,
we didn't see, we saw a bit of Luke as a full-on Jedi at the end of Return of the
Return of the
Jedi.
Jedi. Yeah.
But we haven't seen. I wanted to see the old sage Luke, you know, and I think
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
agree.
do that, and that's
Yeah.
cool. And I feel like Han Solo really didn't have anywhere else to go as a character, you know.
It's very true. You're actually totally right on that too. Like the only place he could go was to do something to benefit his son's character.
Right.
Which is exactly what they did.
Which is exactly what he did. So I'm fine with him dying. It hurt because I couldn't tell you what happened in the next 2 minutes of that movie. After Han Solo died, because I checked it. I was so distraught.
It was like, it was disturbing.
To respect that some bitch.
I had this like really sick feeling in my stomach, which and I'm sorry, T, I'm going to refer to the prequels again for a moment, so bear with me.
It's all right.
But Jay, you'll be able to follow along. It reminded me of when everything started to fall apart in Revenge of the Sith, and like, you know, we learned Palpatine officially admitted, I know the dark side. I am the Sith. I can help you, Anakin. And Anakin's like gonna turn him in, but it's kind of like you can tell he's thinking about it. And then the Republic starts falling, and Order 66 happens. Like I was like sick to my stomach after 6 years of watching happy Star Wars for 2 minutes. It's happy and everything's all bright and colorful, and holy fuck, everyone's dying.
Oh, like, don't get me wrong. Like especially Revenge of the Sith, especially was. I always say it's the most watchable one for me because I can still watch that one all the way through. And a lot of it has to do with that turn. Like that did get me emotionally.
Well done.
A lot of that stuff was done perfectly. Like all that stuff was done really well.
That's cool.
I mean, I'm not completely. Oh, that it completely sucked. There are things in them that work for me.
You are redeemable. Your path to the dark side will not be fulfilled. But anyway, I mean when I watched Sith for the first time, it literally made me sick to my stomach. And when I saw Han die, I felt the exact same way.
Yeah.
I was like, not again.
Very similar. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Kylo Ren messed up. He should have never killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Kylo messed up because that's gonna be.
He had to.
I mean, like when it comes down to it, because I got a theory about how this is gonna end. That's where Kylo messed up.
For me, the problem with Kylo killing, damn, I can't even think of his name.
Han
Solo. He's not redeemable to me. Like he can't get a redemption the way Darth Vader did because yes, Darth Vader killed Obi-Wan, but we didn't know Obi-Wan at that point. We didn't really know him.
That's true.
But we know Han Solo. We've seen him.
Obi-Wan was also a bit of a sacrifice, right? In a way.
Yeah,
so it's kind of different.
Yeah, it wasn't like he just kind of.
Yeah,
I lost the battle.
He knew what he was going to do.
Yeah.
He went in there, you know.
He went in there with the intention.
Right.
He went in there with that intention. But see, that's the thing, because I have a little theory about the whole Kylo thing.
Kylo, he doesn't have that redemption for me. Like, I don't want to see him come back at the, you know.
It's going to be really interesting to see.
It has to be really, really well done. They have to have something really up their sleeves that completely changes my mind.
I really think he's not going to make it out of this trilogy, though.
Yeah. I have a theory, too, and I'll be really curious to hear yours, Jay. But I'm going to quickly just bring up my last kind of nitpicky thing and hear you guys kind of chat about it. Because bear in mind, like you said, see, this is all nitpicky stuff, and, like, this is why I can talk about these things but still say this movie is a 10, because you can nitpick all the films. You can obviously nitpick some more than others, for sure. But you can nitpick Star Wars. They're all fairly.
They're not perfect. None of them are perfect films. They were great.
Exactly. But you love it because Star Wars is like a feeling and it's the characters in the universe. So like these small things don't really make that big of a deal. But the only other thing that I have a gripe with is actually the very, 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 very ending of the movie. So I do want to hear you guys kind of chat about that. Like, I liked the whole she went to go find Luke, and it's like some of my friends were like, I think the movie should have ended 5 minutes before that last scene. I don't buy into that. I liked seeing Luke. Yeah, I like seeing Luke, but the whole like just the practical aspect of she walks up, she sees him, he turns around, no one says anything. She just holds out the lightsaber, and they're awkwardly like staring at each other for a bit too long. Like
the shot was not the best idea. That shot with the helicopter,
not a good closing shot.
Not a good closing shot at all. Like, because we saw her standing there staring at him for quite a few seconds, and then they go to the wide helicopter shot. You're like, they must have paid a lot of money for this shot.
Yeah,
because they kept it in. They totally could have got rid of that whole shot. And
it's that small bit of impact. It just wasn't like I didn't leave with that feeling a little bit because of that.
I agree. I think some of the stuff up to that, like the whole they had to show her walking up every damn step.
That was a little weird, right? It wasn't just me. Okay.
It was weird. It was okay. Like
it did go on a little long though.
It just went on too long for me. It went on a little bit too long for me.
It's like if you're gonna do that, then let me see the temple in the wide shot. Let me see how far she's going up. Like we never got that really.
There's neat implications happening there, and it's like, okay, thank God Luke at least showed his freaking face in this movie.
Right.
But
he was standing there peeing, and then she walks up and just
he's like, oh, pardon me.
That's what I thought, dude. I'm like, what's he doing?
He's like peeing off the cliff.
He's like,
it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, it is cool, and it does leave you wondering, like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Like, what do they actually say to each other, and what does this mean that they're seeing each other? Yeah. But it just didn't quite feel right enough. It's something just a smidge off about it, and it's unfortunately the last moment of the film. So.
Is she his daughter? Which I hope not.
I think so, and I actually hope so. But you don't want her to be?
I don't want her to be.
I don't think that's his daughter.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
I just hopefully she's just some girl that the Force is strong in her. It doesn't have to.
So you want it to be random?
I don't like the idea that everybody has to be related to. Obviously they're not, because we had Jedi that weren't related to Luke and Leia and stuff that had the Force with them.
And
why can't
Abrams has said something why one of the reasons in this film he didn't want to bring up midi-chlorians specifically, and this is a really weird quote. It was because he didn't want it to seem like the Force is supposed to be a family thing.
Yeah.
But to me, there's no correlation there, and I don't think anyone would have confused the Force as being related to just the Skywalkers. Like, we've seen it's not that way.
But yeah, you're right.
So
but
I don't get that.
The bad guy is related. The good guys are related. Everybody who has the Force, at least in this movie, is related to our main characters. And I want somebody from the outside to have the Force.
The problem with that is that line is supposed to be like one of the more uniquely powerful ones.
Yeah, what happened to that line?
Which line?
Was that pulled partially from the original trilogy?
What?
Wait, which line are you talking
about? Where Luke is like
the Skywalker line.
In my family. Yeah.
I can tell you about that too. So that's from Return of the Jedi.
Okay, I thought so.
But in Return of the Jedi,
in there, though.
He re-recorded it for the trailer.
Right.
Because he changed it to "My father has it" to from "My father had it" to "My father has it." So that was very strange. And he added the whole "My sister has it, you have that power too."
Right.
Which is very different, because when he says it in Return of the Jedi, he's actually talking to his sister.
Right.
So he added that extra "you have that power."
That's right.
Too.
I can now remember exactly when.
So Mark Hamill legit recorded that for this. But here's the thing. I do, the more you guys talk about it, I do see the benefit of having her be random. Like, I randomly have the Force and I'm really strong and blah blah blah. But I feel like it's not going to be that way because of what I actually read today, which was, and Jay, I think you might have even seen it on Facebook. I posted IGN's thing where they confirmed that Frank Oz and Ewan McGregor and even a moment from Alec Guinness are all included in that flashback scene. They actually brought in Frank Oz and Ewan McGregor to do some lines that you can hear them say to her.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that kind of happened in a way that makes it seem like she is a Skywalker if those characters are involved. Not necessarily, but it kind of feels that way once I learned that.
Yeah. Well, I think she is. I just don't want her to be. I think because to me, what it's saying is that the Force is bad for your family.
Maybe y'all motherfuckers should stop having a Force.
Parents and kids are leaving their kids, and it's just geez,
it's a dysfunctional family.
Dysfunctional, man. The Force is not all what it seemed to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. Darn it. I mean, you guys make a really good point, and I definitely see the value. I think I'd be happier with it if that actually did happen now that you say that, but I still like the idea of
that's
being
one of the reasons
Skywalker.
I like the idea of Finn being a Jedi and him having the Force, because I knew he was an outsider. And there's this theory of, is he Lando Calrissian's kid? Please don't do that. Please do not do that.
That's not going to be the right
that would
thing.
piss me off. That's something that would definitely piss me off.
Because I heard a couple rumors based off of that one of the books about Mace Windu, and because of how they've made that little statement in the movie where they were kidnapping children, and programming them,
which I love, the story beat that I loved, by the way.
Yeah, somebody posted, I want to say it was on Google Plus or Facebook, I can't remember, that he may be of Windu's line.
I don't want that either. I don't want that at all either. But
see, the only reason why I would actually think that was because I read I forgot which book it is.
He's black, so he's obviously related to one of the black characters.
No.
That just annoys me.
Yeah.
But see, no, they didn't say he was Mace Windu's kid per se, but he was of that.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it would work in the sense that we know Mace Windu was a Jedi and was Force sensitive. So if there was a family member that carried that on, that could make sense. But it does almost feel forced. I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But they've done that before in Star Wars movies too. It was kind of forced, even though I thought it was pretty cool. It was forced to have Anakin Skywalker be the one who built C-3PO.
Well, the thing is,
moments like that.
With Finn's character, I can't remember where I saw this or read this, but they were saying that they weren't looking to cast a black guy to play Finn. They were just looking to cast an actor to play Finn.
Oh,
and
well, then that basically says he's not. Yeah,
right.
so he's
Boyega
not Lando or Mace's kid.
Yeah, Boyega just blew them away.
That's better. That's way better.
So that's definitely why I don't want them to do it.
Yeah.
So.
But that's what I'm saying. That's people's theories. I don't.
We have a new guest in here.
Yeah.
Hey, oh my gosh! Hey, you're right.
Hello, I'm here.
Waiting patiently.
He's
nerves to shut up.
So we were actually going over some issues or gripes we had. You had any gripes with the movie?
I
kind of put you on the spot a little bit.
Welcome, Victoria.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to the podcast. Nice to meet you, by the way.
I think my only gripe was the fact that the best actor in the movie was the droid.
Oh my god.
I was the most invested in the emotions of the BB-8 unit. I will fully admit that. I was cheering with him. I was sad when he thought he lost Poe. I was like, no! Yeah. When he gave the thumbs up, I'm like, see, this is right here.
Yeah.
Oh, good call. We never even mentioned,
he was pretty incredible.
He was pretty damn good.
Yeah. Well, the reason why, because he had to go shoot Apocalypse midway through the movie.
No, BB-8, not Poe.
Oh.
But I think, overall, I think they were just rushing too much throughout the movie. And
it was a pretty fast movie.
You should have saw Luke at the end. I don't think that was necessary. I think they should have ended it with her going off and stopped there. I was like, well, wait, you're giving us too much in the first movie.
Yeah, it could have been interesting, right? If it was, you mean if she saw the map, she knew where to go, she takes off in the ship, and then that was the end.
Yeah,
right?
that was the end.
Yeah.
That's where.
Yeah, it's kind of the tricky thing, but I feel like they still needed to deliver that money shot of Luke's face, and that's probably why.
Mm-hmm. People have been upset because they didn't see Luke on no poster, they didn't see Luke on no trailer.
Yeah.
People were pissed. You gotta appease the nerds.
And then how he died was so predictable that I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It was a 12-year-old writing fan fiction that came up with that.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw it coming, but dang.
When did you feel that way? When did you know it was, when did you predict it?
Yeah, good question.
He walked out there to talk.
Yeah.
He's dead, and then as soon as Rey and Finn came at the top and Chewbacca was watching, I'm like, we're all gonna watch him die. Set up as if I was reading fan fiction for freaking Twilight. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So you actually I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that kind of reminds me of something that, again, even though I find this movie to be a perfect 10, I will again reiterate there are some things that aren't that awesome. Yeah. And I was talking about the whole, the fan servicey stuff. Remember TNJ, I was kind of talking about the fans. It's fan servicey, maybe a little bit too much. And that was something that, even though the movie turned out to be totally brilliant, I was worried about that kind of stuff happening. And I didn't want it to feel like, because this is the movie that isn't made by the original creator who had a kind of a plan and a vision and an idea of a story that would feel continuous, I was like, I'm worried that it could almost feel like just a really high budget fan film based on the things that they include. And I do think that it's elevated quite a bit above that, but there are a lot of elements in it that still make it feel kind of like fan fiction, like you say.
Yeah.
And even though, again, I still love the movie, it definitely has that feel in some parts, and I think that that's a little bit too bad. Just a little bit.
Yeah, that was one of my worries going into it. Was it going to be like a nicely budgeted fan film?
Yeah.
And the prequels couldn't be that because they're so different. It was in a totally different time period.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they had to do with some characters, Yoda mainly. But I knew it was going to have its own. They were all had their own feel. But this, because they were bringing back, the original cast members, it could have just ended up being,
because it's a sequel to their story. Like
Right.
you're right, it totally had what the prequels didn't have that ability because like,
Right.
we have to do this all brand new.
all brand new.
Yeah,
It was
and
all
with this,
brand
it's
new.
like, hey, here's everyone you love. Come on
Hey,
back.
here's old Grandpa Han.
Grandpa Solo.
So yeah, I mean, there was definitely elements of that. We all touched on that, I think.
Yeah, but it's a good point. Like I agree a little bit.
Yeah. So good point. Yeah.
Well, before we give our verdicts, I just want to go through and tackle what we think may happen in episode 8, not Rogue One, episode 8.
Before we do that, can I get my grapes of grapes? It's pretty quick.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
This should
So
be a new series for you.
I mentioned people complaining about Captain Phasma. We went over that already.
Yeah.
Weak villains is another complaint.
General Hux for the win.
Hux was awesome. Anyway, go ahead.
So I don't agree with that. I just think that there was an expectation of the Empire, and these guys are the B team. And I feel like there is somebody looming that's going to remind you of the Empire. And so that's coming, I think. And my last one is Kylo Ren's hilt redemption. Basically, remember all the crying about Kylo Ren's hilt? Oh my God, it's so stupid. Why does it only go that far? Wouldn't it go farther? And how does it? Blah blah blah. Right? He used the hilt.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. It
How
was
cool
actually
was that?
Why it made sense to have a hilt
It
on
was
your
sweet.
lightsaber.
It kind of makes you wonder
for that.
if they actually included that after people started complaining. Jay just like, all right, you whiny bitches, here, look at this.
I don't think so. I think that was always part of it.
I agree.
But
I agree.
I'm glad that it can shut people up from that stupid complaint. So those are my gripes of gripes.
And that can go on for a while, man, because obviously there is a pretty sizable contingent of people who are like kind of down on the film, and they feel like it's too much like the older films. Yeah. It's just like the original trilogy. It's just like A New Hope and all those different things, and that's like it's kind of to be expected, but it's just so sad, man. And I don't know, like I've lived through that because again, as a fan of the prequels, I've lived through the whole, a lot of people like him and a lot of people don't like him, and a lot of people have been bringing up this really good point online. It's like perfectly said, where it's like people complain that the prequels weren't enough like the originals, and now that they're complaining that this one is too much like the originals.
Exactly.
And it's like no one's paying attention to what really makes Star Wars when you kind of get into that boat, I think, and we don't really fall into that category. But
my gripes aren't about that for the prequels. To me, it was always about the characters. Like I said, Star Wars is about the characters to me. I think they missed the mark on the character.
Sure. Yeah, totally legit. And I would much rather have you see it that way than like the other complaint. Because I actually think that there's almost more directorially that is similar with the prequels to the originals than this one is. This one feels a little bit more different. The similarities is, well, we have the same cast, and we use a lot more practical sets. Like, those things are more similar. But the directing style was more in line, but people still complained, and yes, there's a lot of CG, so that makes a lot of sense too. And so it's like, that's driving me crazy, that people are just going to refuse to be happy with Star Wars anymore if it's not the original 3. So you know what? Maybe people should just stop watching.
Yeah. Oh, one last one, real quick.
Yes.
Finn. We finally get the black guy leading a Star Wars movie, and it turns out that he's a janitor.
Oh, Jesus Christ. God damn it, T. Hey, but you know
and
what?
I'm like, again, this is what I'm saying. This is what I said earlier. They weren't looking to cast a black guy to play Finn. They were looking to cast the best guy.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was a janitor had nothing to do with his color. So stop it.
But hey, at least he didn't die first.
I thought that was funny. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was a pretty funny little thing.
Well, Rob, you got to remember, the black dude down first only happens in the 80s and 90s movies.
That's right. Yeah, we've moved on from that trope.
Yeah.
And it made sense that he was a janitor.
80s and the 90s.
Right?
Yeah.
It made sense that he was a janitor because he had, basically being in that position, he hadn't done any atrocious things.
But
So he was innocent still.
He was innocent still,
Yeah,
so he
good
hadn't
call.
had to do any terrible.
Yeah, the opening scene, they established the opening scene was the first time he was on a mission.
First time he was on
to
a
kill
mission,
people.
exactly.
And he
Because he
still
was a
couldn't do it.
janitor,
Yeah.
and he couldn't do it. So
Thing, though, here's another
I love
thing.
that.
That's how he knew where everything was too.
right, that also
Yeah.
helped his character. That helped to move the story along as well. So
That's
Even though he
people
lied
just
to
have to
himself.
complain. Man.
yeah,
People
yeah.
have to complain.
Again, that was a gripe of a stupid gripe. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to point out, as my brother said, it's the best movie about a brother quitting his job.
that's great. That is great.
I completely agree.
That's awesome.
Oh man, that's
All
good
right.
stuff.
So, predictions of what you think may happen in 8. T.
I hate to. Like this is one thing I don't like to do.
Do it.
It's so hard
Do it.
for me to
Do it.
predict.
Or just.
We kind of went over a little bit. I guess we predicted
We
that
did, yeah.
Finn or Ray would be
Luke's.
Luke's kid, Luke's daughter. So that's probably going to come true. I predict that Phasma will have a bigger part and she'll do some cool stuff to get the fanboys to stop crying. And I predict that Snoke is actually a Yoda-sized character. And his projection of the it's he has penis envy. He has a small guy complex, and so
He's like, my
projects
lightsaber
himself-
is not as big as yours.
Because wasn't that a thing of worry? Like when you first saw Snoke, he's like, oh no, he's not some giant stupid monster, is he?
You know,
Some
that
big,
actually
stupid
was.
CG monster.
I was
And
like, that doesn't look awesome being that. I mean, it's
No,
like
and I was
being
like,
that big. Yeah.
Projection though.
it turned out to be a holographic projection. And I was like, thank God.
And that actually
Because I
that
hated
actually
that.
made the decision to show him huge even better though.
Yes, yes.
Because it changes your whole perception of him.
Right.
In,
And I
in
feel-
just one scene.
Exactly, and I feel like he's totally a tiny little character, and that's
Mm.
part of his way to project himself big and to be menacing. Not unlike Kylo Ren and his mask, So,
Mm.
so that'll come to fruition. Obviously, I feel like Luke is going to be training Rey, and we'll get into that, and we'll learn more about the questions we still had coming out of this movie. As far as
Mhm.
what's Rey's background. I want to find out what she, how she got to Jakku and her little visions and whatnot. What are those about? And I actually want more of what Finn is about. Nobody's really saying that, but I want to know like what happened with his parents and like what war. Obviously, some war happened, and they came along and snatched all the kids up, the boys, and they turned them into soldiers. And to me, that's always really cool in a story like this. So I kind of wanted to see where he came from and who is his family. Hopefully, nothing to do with Calrissians or anything like that.
Finn Calrissian, welcome back.
Billy D gonna be in episode 8.
I do want Billy D in there though, but
Yeah, that would be
'cause he
great,
was
yeah.
a major character in the original. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't want to. I want him to be a Leia kind of kind of a background character, kind of a authoritarian type. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be awesome because they laid pretty good groundwork here. So.
Okay. Vicky, got any predictions?
I think I basically agree with T. I guess my question is, what will be the cliffhanger for the next one? I guess that's the question, because we know Ray's gonna be training and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But I guess what will be the cliffhanger? What's going to keep us for the next one?
The Luke, I'm your father like cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
not, because that's pretty.
No, not that one exactly. I just mean
Something
something
like-
levity, something of
I
that.
want something really good. I'm jumping up in my seat like, oh.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I feel like the second film in the trilogy is the time to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's what that's how they've treated both trilogies. Is the second film is the second act of one story, and just like Lawrence Kasdan said in the Empire of Dreams thing, he's like the second act is where everything falls to hell, and it's usually the best part of a play. So in Empire, Han's in carbonite, Luke, I'm your father. Holy shit, my hand's been cut off. Everyone's dividing their forces and going to different parts of the galaxy, and it ends. And Attack of the Clones, Anakin loses his arm, the Clone War is beginning, the Republic is in strife, and then Anakin is secretly marrying Padme, which totally goes against the Jedi. So it's like, what the hell is going to happen next with both of those things? So hopefully they do something very similar where it's probably going to be pretty bleak. Things are going to end, and you're going to be like, dude, everyone looks doomed. by the end of episode 8, and then episode 9 has to bring it back.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay. Me personally, I'm predicting Finn gonna lose both his hands.
God damn it, no.
He's gonna become Jax.
Yeah. Finn's gonna become Jax.
Oh, Jax, like Mortal Kombat Jax.
Yeah, he's gonna train with Rama and Mad Dog. No, seriously. In all honesty, though, I think what's gonna wind up happening, we're gonna learn. I think we are gonna learn more about Rey and Finn's backgrounds. We already know Rey's gonna get trained. We already know Kylo's gonna get trained. They're gonna be. I think what's gonna wind up happening is they're gonna complete their training by the end of the movie. But I think something big is gonna happen that even overshadows the Han Solo thing.
Do you want to share? Yeah, you alluded to that earlier. Do you want to share?
I'm not
it,
gonna share it.
Oh, damn it!
Live, not live, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, because I gotta go back and read some stuff because I think I know what they did.
I think the biggest question though is George Lucas upset that nobody lost a limb?
Yeah, I was thinking. I was like, and I thought Kylo Ren did for a second.
Yeah, I did too, but I don't think he did.
Oh, he's good. No, he didn't. Yeah, you saw him kind of get up for a second. I was like, and I actually have seen the movie twice, by the way. So I really paid attention the second time. I was like, nah, he's still got his hands. So.
Yeah, I'm going to see it again Christmas Eve. So.
Yeah, so I think the last thing that I think is going to wind up happening is probably we're going to get we're going to get more with Phasma. I think Phasma is going to be because I think they're going to be more than just one villain. I think we're going to have like a group to go against our group, because if you remember back in the originals and even the prequels, they pretty much made Anakin a fighter pilot, a Jedi, and a master swordsman. This one, they're not fighter pilots. Poe is.
That's true.
You know,
well,
one of them has something. You know.
Well, Rey's
a pretty good pilot. I don't know if you consider her a fighter pilot,
but she
can fly her tail off.
She on Poe level. Poe was off the chain.
Yeah, Poe. Yeah. Well.
So I mean, that's what I mean by that. And I think we're gonna find out, because I have a theory about Snoke, whatever.
Snark.
The guy I'm looking through with the Dell projector, his light bulb about to go out.
Yeah. So that's a huge theory there, but anyway.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, do you care if I share it and you can tell me if it's the right? Because that's so I'll even get into like my two quick theories, because I agree with everything you guys said, so I won't get into the little things about the characters. But the big thing, and Tia and Victoria, I'd be curious if you guys have heard this or what you think. Huge theory about Snoke is that he's actually Darth Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis.
Yeah. Yep. And is that what you were thinking, Jay?
Yep.
Was the Darth Plagueis thing? Yeah. So it's interesting. There's only one piece of concept art that exists of him, and it looks very similar to the face that we see of Snoke in the movie.
I hope he's. I hope that's right now.
It's pretty awesome when you think about it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And it's interesting with Plagueis, because if you get really deep into the shit, which I'm really good at doing with Star Wars, is with Plagueis, he's kind of the genesis of everything. Like he, according to the story that Palpatine tells Anakin, Plagueis basically taught Palpatine how to create life.
Right.
Through the Force, through the midichlorians, like them or not, through the Force, I can create life. I can stop people from dying, which was exactly what coerced Anakin to the dark side. And I can create life, and what he's kind of telling the audience, I created Anakin. Because we learned Anakin had no father. Like, Shmi couldn't explain it. Yeah. So Anakin, the Skywalker male bloodline, was created from Darth Plagueis' ability to create life out of the Force.
You see, that would be the I'm your father moment. That needs to happen now.
Yeah.
That you brought that up.
It's
that
crazy.
Needs to happen.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
That's why every Skywalker has rage issues.
That would be awesome.
Because of what, and think about the title of this first movie, The Force Awakens. Well, if the Force creates life, and the Force created the Skywalkers, and we're still following the damn Skywalkers, it kind of just all makes a little bit of sense. There's even a theory about Rey's staff, because Darth Plagueis also very famously used a staff as a weapon, and it was lost. So why does Rey have this weird staff? Maybe it's not connected, but it's part of the theory, like Rey's staff about being Plagueis' staff. So that's
will that staff lead to a really cool lightsaber?
I'm thinking it would. It would have to.
With
But
the
that,
dual wielding lightsaber, yeah.
yes. Now that leads to my other huge theory, and this may like just totally piss everybody off, but this is kind of what I think might be happening. It involves Rey too. I kind of wonder if maybe what we're going to look at is Kylo Ren and Rey, if Rey truly is a Skywalker, and I think she's Luke's daughter, you know, like we kind of all think maybe she is. So if Kylo Ren is Leia's son and Rey is Luke's daughter, I'm kind of wondering if Rey might have the twist to the dark side. I feel like what we might see is if Kylo Ren maybe has the twist to the light side, which we know right now, as we discussed, his battle is with the light side. It's the opposite of what Anakin battled with, where he was good trying to not turn evil and couldn't prevent it from happening because he was too greedy.
Right.
And with Kylo Ren, he sees the light side as a weakness that Darth Vader fell to, and he's like, I don't want that. You know, grandfather, help me not turn to the light and fail like you did, which is why he kills Han Solo, to still be evil. So I feel like what we might be looking at potentially is these two grandchildren of Anakin Skywalker both fulfilling both arcs he had, where he was good turning evil and evil turning good. Mm-hmm. And like if Rey twists to the dark side, which would be a crazy, crazy twist, and then we actually do get a redemption of Kylo Ren, they literally both embody the two arcs of Anakin in both the previous stories we've seen about him.
Because isn't that kind of what happened? I didn't read the books completely, but I know that there was a redemption basically where one of the Solo kids saves. Wasn't? Am I right about that? Where
you're kind of right. You're kind of right.
Jason Solo.
Right, Jason Solo.
Jason Solo comes close to the dark side, I believe, but he does not. He does not turn. Yeah.
Yeah. But Jaina still kills him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Luke even almost went to the dark side post Jedi also.
I heard that from the books.
Granted, that all stuff has been removed now, but
yeah, I mean, yeah.
So it's a crazy ass theory, but like it kind of started for me with when they released the poster, and you see Rey has her staff in that poster, and Kylo Ren's like red evil lightsaber blade is like right next to it, like very much like in line with it. And I'm like, is there symbolism there?
Well,
like,
I mean, they think that stuff's removed, but they're taking a little bit, you know, the fact that the Han Solo has a kid who. Mm-hmm. You know, who's of the Force, and he goes to the dark side. So they're still at least taking some stuff, even though they're saying that a lot of this stuff is not it's not part of the story anymore.
And kids, that's why you don't trust J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, he likes to throw you a fastball.
He sure did. So. Yeah, so that's all like crazy out there stuff, but I just
really crazy out there because I was thinking that as well, that they're going to flip. That Ren's going to become good and Rey's going to go bad.
But it would be a crazy twist.
That would be. I don't know if I could handle that twist.
It'd be right. Well, we love Rey so much, right? Like she's so great, and it would be. My girlfriend brought this up. She's like, I don't know if I'm ready to see Rey go bad because they made me like her too much, and so it's like it would suck to see her turn bad.
The reason why I don't think she's going to turn bad is because of the simple fact that even in like the original stuff, you always saw hints of Luke and his, you know, Luke having rage issues. She does not have any rage issues.
That's true. She's pretty clean. I mean, she has the whole like attachment to whoever left her on the planet, right? So but, like that's kind of her flaw at this point, but it's not anger, you know.
Yeah, it's not anger, and like even in that last fight when he was like, because Ren was bearing down on her, when she actually composed herself, she didn't get angry.
Mm-mm.
She composed herself
and
went to stomping a mud hole in him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I really don't think Rey's gonna turn.
The best kind of evil is not out of anger.
Yeah, I think they would.
I don't see a situation in which she would actually. Well, you know what? I take that back. There is one situation I can see her actually turning,
which is
something happening to Finn.
Yeah.
That could do it, and you know what? That's again going. And I'm so sorry, T. I have to refer to the prequels a couple times in this about
apologizing about the prequels.
About stories.
Not your fault.
I just know how much you hate them, but it's that was literally like the thing that made Anakin turn into Darth Vader was he loved someone,
right?
And he's like, you can't do that. Like you can't have love and follow what the Jedi was at the time of the prequels. It's different, many years later. But it's like you can't do that, and so he was so caught up in saving someone because he loved this person that he was willing to do horrible things to do it. He was willing to kill Mace Windu. He was willing to destroy the Jedi, fuck up the Republic, and just because he was promised the ability to save this person he loves. And like, so if Rey goes through the same thing, like you said, Jay, where it's like either to protect Finn or to avenge him, to seek revenge, like how we know how that shit turns out.
Yeah.
So that could be a really interesting way to make her turn. Actually, that's a good point.
See, that's one of the things about the prequels that I don't.
Is that she's gonna see him again.
The prequels brought in stuff that like that I don't like about
Like, such as
love and because like
It's the opposite of Bushido.
that's from the prequels. Like, so are you saying that none of the Jedi's love each other? Like they don't have.
No, and that's it gets a little sticky there for sure.
Yeah,
it does because like when you see Qui-Gon dying and stuff, like you can tell they love each other, right? And
Right.
when like Obi-Wan is like, I loved you, you know, like when he's looking at a dying Anakin, he's like, I loved
Right.
you. Like,
But
that's right.
I loved you. You were my brother. Like
Yeah.
that's love. So why
Yeah, you're not wrong. It gets a little bit sticky there. I still think like the overarching theme of that whole concept works. There are those little things that make you I've always thought that with the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon thing, it's like, man, they really do love each other, and that's not supposed to happen. But, I think
the whole priesthood of the Jedi is the stuff that came in, because obviously priests in our world can't marry and stuff like that.
Yeah. But it's weird because it does work for how Lucas laid out the Force in both trilogies and like what the Force is kind of supposed to allow you to do and how to wield it properly. And what I'd recommend, so any of you guys do who maybe haven't seen it in a long time, is the scene in Attack of the Clones where Anakin is like kind of the bodyguard for Padme going back to Naboo to keep her protected. She asks him about love and being a Jedi. She literally is like, are you allowed to love? I don't remember why the conversation starts, but she's like, are you even allowed to love? I thought that was forbidden for a Jedi. And he's like, well, love is forbidden, but compassion, which I think is essential to a Jedi's life, is very important for this reason. Like the ability to care and protect is part of what makes us a Jedi. So there is a really cool dialogue moment where they touch on that a little bit, and it kind of writes out the plot hole, but not quite enough either. So it's an interesting thing to kind of go back and look at if you haven't seen it in a while.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, the whole that concept thing is like the backwards of Bushido. So when you actually look at it, it's kind of the backwardsness of Bushido, which I kind of hate that they actually did that. But hey, whatever, it is what it is. That's how you had to set up your story. Go for it.
Yeah.
Now that we got to this, we got to give our verdicts. Me personally, I didn't like the movie that much. So,
get out of here.
All right, y'all know me. I don't like doing points. I like,
thumbs up, thumbs down kind of
thumbs
thing.
Up, thumbs down, stuff like that. So my rating that I'm giving this is a watch this in IMAX. You idiot. So,
you idiot. That's an important part of it.
Yeah. So actually, I think you should splurge on it. This thing is beautiful in IMAX. If you have a chance to actually watch it in IMAX, you're doing yourself a favor if you watch it in IMAX. That's just my opinion on that. Rob, what you give it?
I mean, I kind of joked about it, like it's like a 10 out of 10 for me. But if I didn't give it a number, it's great. You can nitpick it, just like we established you can nitpick any of the films. But Star Wars isn't about nitpicking. It's about the themes and the characters, like T said, and just that feeling, the feeling that Star Wars gives you, and it just nails that. And just Star Wars is back, and it feels so goddamn wonderful. So basically, yeah, see it, you idiot, just like Jay said.
Vicky.
I definitely agree. It's definitely a must-watch in IMAX.
All right, and T. Whenever he comes back.
Uh-oh. Did we lose T?
All right, I'm here. We're giving it a grade?
Yeah.
I'm giving it a letter grade. My letter grade is B. And definitely if you're a Star Wars fan, I've been saying, I don't think this movie is going to make you a Star Wars fan necessarily. But it's definitely a Star Wars fan's movie. So
it is. It's so fan-friendly, in the best ways.
Yeah, that is true. So, peeps, that is our Star Wars Force Awakenings review. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Like I said, this is spoiler filled. So,
if you've heard this now, you don't have to see the movie.
Yeah, you do have to see the movie because I need y'all to help make it even more money, so we can get 10, 11, and 12. So
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do not worry, the MP3 will be up sometime soon, hopefully, and I will see you guys later. Vicky, do you have anything you want to pimp out?
Nope.
Nope, nothing. Rob, anything you want to pimp out?
No, I'll be getting back to video soon. Just got back from my Star Wars vacation, so yep. The next couple days I'll be doing. So I'll probably be doing my own kind of Star Wars discussion video too, in case no one got enough fill of me just bullshitting about Star Wars like for hours on end. I'll do that again in my own video probably too. So.
Okay. T, anything?
Nothing specific right now. Just keep an eye out. I'm sure I'll drop something.
Okay. And if you guys don't hear back from any of us, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I know Gamers at Large will be back after the New Year, so be on the lookout for us in the beginning of 2016. And I will see you guys later. Peace out.